more than 60 years, Brits have been sold the dream of a new paradise life in Australia. Every year, nearly 30,000 people emigrate to Australia, and many of these head for the vibrant city of Sydney. Attracted to the harbour lifestyle and the 70-odd beaches up and down the coast. We'll follow Jimmy and Anya, who are leaving behind their English roots.
It's all quite exciting, but I'm nervous as well.
To start a new life down under.
It's all really surreal, isn't it? It feels like we've just come for a holiday.
We'll join mother of three, Susan, who regrets swapping Broadstairs for Botany Bay.
I've never not been homesick since I've been here, so just learnt to live with it, I guess.
And we'll catch up with B&B owner John.
David Austin Roses, the best of British.
Even after 20 years, Lancashire is still home.
They're never ever going to accept you as an Aussie. Not that I want to be accepted as an Aussie.
And we'll see a different life for Poms down under. The weather and the lifestyle in Sydney attracts thousands of Brits to emigrate every year. Whilst it might be 26 degrees in Sydney, on the other side of the world, in Manchester, it's a blustery winter's day.
Oh, there you are.
41-year-old Jimmy and girlfriend Anya are packing up their home and leaving in 3 days' time.
Yeah, I can't wait for this one.
To work up for the next 8, and then finding my live. It's all exciting as well.
Jimmy and Anya have qualified residency.
She's on tuition, and it's on the Guild Migrant.
Australia is crying out for skilled labour, and last year the Guild Migrant quotient increased by 30%.
Got fast-tracked, because we weren't expecting to go to 2013,
no.
Really.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh God, we haven't started saving.
Anya is 40 years old and works in credit control. She and Jimmy have been together for 3 years.
I've always wanted to move over there at some point, probably since I was about 7, which is many, many years ago.
It's not cheap to emigrate. Jimmy and Anya have already spent £10,000 on their visas, flights and 6 months quarantine for puddles.
Since we got our visa through, we started saving up. So we saved up, I don't want to say on camera, about £20,000.
Both Jimmy and Anya have relatives in Sydney, but Jimmy will be leaving behind his mum and dad.
My dad's dropping us off at the airport on Sunday, so there'll be tears all around Dad.
Well, I don't know about that. It's not a bereavement, he's only gone on holiday. One time you were a prisoner that let you in. One time, but now you got to pay to go in. Yeah. You're a bit of a mammy's boy, really, didn't you? He didn't go too far from his mother.
This will always be my home, this place.
Why is that?
Because I've bought this when I was 23, and I've lived here ever since I was 23, so it's like 17 years.
The next time they'll see their belongings will be in Sydney in 3 months' time.
I'll just be pleased when Sunday comes and we're on the plane and we're actually, no more packing and we can just relax then. And then, yeah, get there and Australia, here we come. Okay. In the Sydney suburb of Maroubra, the beach and the lifestyle might entice any Pom looking for a fresh start. But despite this idyllic life, for homesick Susan, it's not enough.
Harriet! Sam! I'm going in there. Just shove things in there.
32-year-old Susan is originally from Broadstairs in Kent.
Patty and Sam, your breakfast is ready.
She has 3 children, Harriet, Sam and Oscar, all born here.
You guys have got no clothes on. Put some clothes on, you two.
Susan emigrated 12 years ago with Aussie husband James after she met him in London. His stockbroking job in the city leaves Susan looking after their 3 young, boisterous children on her own.
My toast is ready.
James works such long hours and it's just me predominantly in the week that I kind of feel like some input from another person. Sam, don't do that, you'll break the dinosaur. Who loves them as much as I do, or near enough as much as I do, like a grandparent would make a difference to perhaps me not feeling quite so exhausted, if you know what I mean, and having so much of them.
Susan's increasing homesickness has meant she's fallen out of love with life down under.
It's horrible feeling that negativity towards you know, a place and people, and I always have this constant need to compare it to everything I know and feel comfortable with back home as well. So it's not a nice way to kind of live in that respect, but I guess it's part of being homesick really, and I've never not been homesick since I've been here, so just learnt to live with it, I guess.
45-year-old John is from Chorley in Lancashire. John emigrated to Australia 20 years ago.
Shut up! Is that enough, David? It's burnt out.
And now runs a B&B in the Blue Mountains. He also spent 2 years living in Japan.
So what, there? All his instructions are in Japanese. Nah. Shut up! When I was in Japan, I lived in a house, and they always have, like, ikebana, floral arrangements. And I was just thinking it just looked dead where I was, so I started mimicking ikebana, if you will.
When he returned to Australia with his newfound skill, he discovered a gap in the Sydney flower market.
A friend of mine said, why don't you become a florist? So after a couple of days when I'd stopped laughing, I looked around Sydney and I thought, is that it? Is that what florists in Australia are? So I decided I'd open a shop but be very English. Do it very English style, because there's enough tropical stuff all over the place. So I did. So I opened the shop and then it just basically just took off. This tree, it's a fruiting pine tree. And at Sydney markets, for the flower markets, nobody has anything with these huge pine cones like this. Because remember, it's Australian, they don't have anything European as such.
John opened an English florist in Sydney named John and Duxbury after his Irish wolfhound.
So not two cottage garden, all completely intermingled, grouping, basically.
Yep.
He now runs the business from the Blue Mountains with his Pommy assistant Zoe.
I've been here 10 years, so I feel more Aussie than...
Never.
I do, though. And when I go back home, everyone's like, oh, he sounds Australian.
No.
I do. Don't you get that?
No.
You have got the strongest accent I've heard in quite a long time.
Get out. Really?
Yes.
John's preservation of his Englishness doesn't stop at his accent.
There we go. Get stuck into that. So what you've
He
got,
expanded this English empire by opening up the only English-style B&B in the Blue Mountains with his Brighton-born wife, Kathy.
I think you made a good choice, actually.
It's always been John's ambition to recreate a little bit of England in his own backyard.
David Austin Roses, the best of British. Like to keep the British theme, we know, wherever we go. If you walk up here, you could actually convince yourself really easily you were in England. Look at that. You expect seeing Will Scarlett or something up there, don't you, shouting to Robin Hood?
John and Kathy's 20-year experience in Australia has convinced them to build their expat lives around their Englishness.
You'll never ever be accepted as an Australian. You try and assimilate with the Australians and go throw a snag on the barbie, but everybody's still going to call you a pommy. You know, they're never ever going to accept you as an Aussie. Not that I want to be accepted as an Aussie.
It's early morning in Sydney, and as the city wakes up, Jimmy and Anya's flight is just touching down.
I don't really think it's sunk in yet that they're actually going to be staying. It's going to still feel like they're on holiday at first, I think.
Jimmy's Sydney-based sisters are at the airport, along with Anya's sister and her new baby Jude.
It's been a long time coming, isn't it?
Yeah.
About 2 years since they applied.
Here they are. No false alarm. Thought that was Jimmy in the blue top. That was funny.
After a 35-hour flight, Australia welcomes its latest Poms.
Here they are.
This is the first time Anya has met her baby nephew.
He's gorgeous, eh?
It's nice to see sunshine.
Just come out.
Oh, it's really surreal, isn't it? It feels like we've just come for a holiday.
Yeah, that's what we said.
But after 4 weeks, we'll have to stay, we'll have to get jobs and work out here and everything.
It's only the beginning for 2 more Poms down under.
Now we are offering you the chance to spend 14 nights in fantastic Sydney, courtesy of Oz Travel and Etihad Airways. One lucky winner and 3 guests will cruise the famous Sydney Harbour landmarks, explore the beautiful Blue Mountains, get up close to some of Australia's local wildlife and relax on gorgeous golden beaches. With your choice of luxury beachside accommodation or vibrant city apartment, plus an amazing £5,000 spending money. For your chance to win, answer the following question correctly. What's the name of the world's largest barrier reef located off the coast of Australia? A. The Little Barrier Reef. B. The Great Barrier Reef. C. The Giant Barrier Reef. Call 0901 29 39 123. Calls should cost no more than £1.03 from BT landlines. Other networks may be higher and mobiles considerably more. Text your answer A, B or C to 88444. Text costs £1 plus 1 standard network rate message. You can also enter for free at itv.com. Entrance must be 18 or over. Date restrictions will apply. It's been a week since Jimmy and Anya arrived in Australia, and already Jimmy's trying to fit in.
Learn a bit of surfing, get out in the sea more often, have more of the outdoor life. Bloody hot though.
He's come to Maroubra in the eastern suburbs with his brother-in-law to learn to surf.
Choppy out there. So we don't get sucked out to sea.
There are 6 million surfers in Australia. That's a quarter of the population.
Tuesday afternoon in Manchester, probably still be working now. But over here they start early, they finish earlier, so you get time to go to the beach after work. Like now, probably got, if I was working today over here, probably down at the beach. No, it won't change, mate. I'll still be the same, mate. I'll still be Jimmy the Mank.
After a couple of hours on the waves, Jimmy returns to his sisters for a few drinks.
I've only met Paul today.
Fellow expat Paul also emigrated to Sydney as an electrician. But since he arrived a year ago, he's only been able to get work as a shop fitter.
Yeah, but I've not been working as a spark for this year. It's difficult. The problem here is with our trade is as soon as you get here, regardless how well qualified you are back in England, you basically got to start again. You've got to re-qualify for the Australian regulations, and then you've got to get your licence, which takes a year. So,
a skilled migrant visa might get you in, but it doesn't guarantee you a job. Jimmy will have to re-qualify for his electrician's licence at night school, which will cost £2,000 to £3,000.
Well, there's to get me electrician certificate. Done the same money as Wayne Rooney then.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Susan originally qualified as a midwife in Oxford, but having a young family has forced her to put her career on hold.
I trained for 4 years and then I worked there for another 2 years, and then I moved down to London, worked at St Mary's at Paddington, and then that's when I met James.
The high cost of childcare in Oz means it's not financially worth her working full-time, so she works on Saturdays whilst James minds the kids.
So myself and another midwife, we job share a position here and basically offer help and advice to pregnant women, new mums and dads, run classes.
For the rest of the week, Susan makes the most of the lifestyle that Sydney has to offer.
Loughborough is known for its fish and chips, so it's quite a good place to come down with the kids, even after school sometimes. In an afternoon, hit the beach for an hour and let them have a paddle, and then have some fish and chips for tea before we go home.
Susan might dream of returning to the UK, but her husband and children are Australian, so leaving is not an option.
Potentially I might have been stronger to say, well, this is my need and I need to go home, and hope that, James would have come with me. But with kids it's harder to do that. I can't sort of threaten to take the kids away. Legally I can't do it anyway, and I wouldn't do it, take my children away from their dad. So yeah, but if we hadn't had children and it was just us, I think maybe I would have felt stronger to have said, done my time here in Australia and now I want to go back and spend some time with my family.
Australian family law is tough. Parents who split up and want to go back to the UK have to make a choice to stay in Oz or leave their children behind.
I'd like to think that I'd, eventually come round. And I know friends, I've got a few friends that didn't feel comfortable when they came, and now they actually say, oh no, it's only this last year or 2 years that I've actually started to feel like it's home. And I keep hoping that that's going to happen for me one day. If I could, transport my family and close friends over here, I'd be happy to stay. Yeah, cheers, girls.
For most expats, having fellow Poms around can make home at least feel closer. For Poms looking for a quieter life, the Blue Mountains offer a haven of tranquility. These waterfalls give their name to the main town of Katoomba, where expat John is looking for a different sort of watering hole.
You don't really have much, there's not much of a variation in Katoomba. There's basically 3 pubs. This is probably about the best one of them all. There's very few pubs in Australia that's even remotely close to an English pub.
Lancashire might be 10,000 miles away for John, but nowadays he can get a taste of it on his doorstep.
Relaxing?
How's that? Shipped in specially for me. You won't get this anywhere else in the Blue Mountains. The landlord gets it in specially for me. But not only specially for me, these are my glasses. They didn't have any pint glasses, so I had to bring my own in. Can't beat the first pint of the day.
For John, running an English-style B&B is paying off. 20 years ago, working as a roofer in England, his life was going in a very different direction.
And I had this grand plan. Get married early, get the house, get the mortgage. So I just went at it, hammer and tong basically working. I got divorced when I was 22. Sorry, I got divorced when I was 25. I got married when I was 22. Way too early. So by the time it came to, I got divorced, it was like, well, it's time to explore the world. I've missed out on all this, it's time for me to go out. 20 years, nearly. How's that for you? Well, I'll tell you what, it's gone like that.
But now, 2 decades later, he's celebrating his 3rd anniversary with his second wife, Kathy.
3 years of wedded bliss.
John and Kathy both know building a new life down under doesn't come easy.
But you take that initial risk, don't you? You emigrate, there's a risk just in that, and then all of a sudden that starts coming together, then you go, well, let's take a risk here and just try this, and then that might, well, let's take a risk here, and it just sort of goes on and on. If I'd have stayed at home, I'd probably still had my roofing company and just probably still been going to the same pub having a pint at night after getting off the roof. Couldn't have wished any better. Huge risk. Couldn't have had a better outcome.
It's a beautiful place. It is. I mean,
for us,
it's small town and all those sorts of things, but then that's what we're used to.
Well, cheers.
Cheers,
here's to a successful 2012.
Establishing a new life in a different country can take some time. But for the moment, Jimmy and Anya are in holiday mode.
Said we'd have 4 weeks off, 4 to 5 weeks off, and then we'll start looking for work, because we need, obviously, again, to look for accommodation as well. So, yeah, reality will sink in when we start going to work.
Yeah, my tools will arrive today as well. I ship them over. I've had a call from customs this morning.
Well, we got our Australian driver's licence.
Oh yeah, I'll show you. Driving licence.
Halfway to being an Aussie. Your picture's alright, mine looks like just got out of prison. There's mine. Hey?
That sounds like H.
1 in 5 Brits return home after emigrating. And the main reason is because they miss their family.
I got a lot closer to my dad this year. My dad, he's got a little dog and he's always round every day for a brew, and brought his little doggy Ruby and his little terrier. But the cat used to be scared to death of the terrier, so the cat used to run upstairs and hide under the bed.
So we stopped bringing them in eventually. But yeah, I was really close to my mum. Really close. I was upset leaving my mum, like.
They can't do anything about the distance.
Look at that one for $7.50.
But finding a place to live will help them settle in.
Wow.
Oh, no way, we've got to go and see this one. Because look how much space you've got round there. Air conditioning, it's got air conditioning as well.
Above our limit, babe.
We could stretch.
With the cost of living in Australia double that of the UK, the £20,000 that they've saved isn't going to go far.
I think is it the second or third? Well, it's in the top 5 richest cities, I think. Most expensive cities in the world now. Never used to be.
As the honeymoon period of their new life down under draws to a close, Jimmy and Anya's thoughts turn to the future and the sound of wedding bells.
Might surprise you. If we have a family, yeah, definitely.
Depending on if there's a yes.
I can't tell you yet.
Next time, we'll meet Ian, the haggis king of Sydney.
So how do you beat that?
Who's guarding his Scottish secrets from the Aussies.
A secret recipe, especially out here. You can't tell them too much out here.
We join vet Sarah for a day at the office.
She's such a character.
We jump on the big red bus with ex-commando Simon.
I thought I've done this for 16 years, I should do something else.
Who's brought a little bit of London to Sydney.
It was a nightmare, and I don't think I'd do it again, but we got there in the end.
Next, love isn't running smoothly for Maria or Eva in Coronation Street.